the gateway to the metaverse. So we've got Tyler and Ben with us from TeamTBM. We've got just some slides to tell you a little bit more about us. As you can see from these pictures, predominantly I am a mum working in the tech and digital sector. I work for a performance marketing agency called Reflect Digital, and what we do is harness behavioural science to really supercharge our efforts for our clients, which is super interesting. We get really excited about that. And I run a small agency community called Agency Land, which is all about increasing inclusivity and making sure that people who aren't seen within our industry are. I've also written a play called Hunting for Witches, which is on Hailsham Pavilion this week. I will do Eastbourne DigiFest discounts. Thanks very much. That's my plug. And then over to the lads.
So, hi, I'm Tyler. I started TBM with Ben about, 2017. We started TBM as a way of being able to showcase all of the work that we do, and that could be making games, making websites. So on the pictures, I have done loads of really random things. I travelled to America the last 2 years during the summer to work at a summer camp, and by doing that, I was able to work with a whole range of young people and be able to learn from how everyone works, how everyone's different, and be able to develop more on the games that I create and work on more projects. I've also met David Tennant, which is up on the top. I managed to win tickets to go to the BAFTA TV Awards, and by doing that I was able to meet David Tennant and loads of other people, which was a really great experience. And then on the right I was able to meet the Roblox CEO and talk to him about Roblox as a whole and what I'm using it for, which we'll get into more detail later. And yeah, I think that's everything about me.
So I'm Ben McCormick. I'm the other co-founder of TBM. You can see from my images I did quite the assortion of different things. Most notably, I've been to quite a few military places, being a part of the Air Cadets. But you know, I mean, you pretty much explained what TBM does quite well. So I think we can move on from that.
Yeah, let's crack on. No problem. So. This talk is about the metaverse. So what is the metaverse and why should we be taking notice of it?
Yeah, so the metaverse is a way for games to all sort of be interlinked in a way. So the example up on the top is talking about a movie called Ready Player One, which I imagine quite a few younger people that might be in the audience have seen it when it was in cinemas a couple of years ago. And it was basically a film talking about a big platform which was set in virtual reality, and it had a massive range of games within it, and players were able to play all the different games but all be connected together.
Yeah, I mean, kind of carrying on from that, a metaverse is essentially just an interconnected 3D space. So Roblox is a really good example, and we'll talk more on this later, but a collection of games that are all connected by kind of one common link. And I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've created is a metaverse because it's all linked under one big kind of umbrella or one big system. So anything like this.
So why do you love it? What is it about the metaverse that gets you excited, and why have you based what you do around it?
I think being able to show what we create in a big platform. So Roblox has millions of games which people can play, but all of the games we've created have been in very different genres. So, for example, we've created theme parks, we've created like interactive games, and I think being able to showcase anything we enjoy doing in one place is really useful, because normally if you create one game, it will go on a platform and people play it, and that's sort of it. But within Roblox and the metaverse itself, you can constantly play all the different games and try out any type of genre you're interested in, or learn about different ones.
So is it in effect limitless?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, there's no limit on what you can find. There are pretty much any genres you can imagine, and there's so many different games. There's unlimited possibilities.
I'm feeling so old and so terrified, but we're going to learn together. So what are some of the key learnings that you gained from user experience and retention specifically with the Roblox platform?
one of the biggest learnings we had for our first game, which was Movie World, it was an interactive theme park which people could play, go on roller coasters and go on rides. And we developed this game during COVID because we enjoyed going to theme parks, but when lockdown happened, we couldn't do anything like that. So we created a virtual game where people could go try out rides, try out different things like that. And we brought it into VR so people could put on the VR headset and physically play the game, go on a roller coaster and experience it. We made our game in the UK, but we found our biggest audience was actually Australia. So some of the events that we created were based around Australian style events to cover more of our audience. And as we developed the game, the age ranges changed quite a lot as well. We had quite a lot of sort of older people, I say older, 18 plus, enjoy the game more.
That's not old.
No. Our biggest audience was 18 plus, which meant we didn't develop our game to be like a childish game. We targeted it at a massive range of people. And yeah, it was really interesting to find out that I think a lot of people think Roblox is a platform for kids because a lot of young kids play it. About 10 years old, they'll start playing the platform, but we joined it when we were about 9 and we've carried on playing it. So now that we're both 19, we've sort of grown up with the platform. So I think a lot of the 18 plus age range is people that were on the platform when they were younger have grown up with it and now they're 18, 19, and that's why the age bracket has grown.
You heard that right, guys. That was 19. So if anyone's feeling like a massive underachiever like me, we can meet for a coffee afterwards and we can all talk about that together. These guys are so professional. They know their stuff and they're only 19. Goodness me. Can you just share an example of how community feedback has shaped your projects?
Yeah, so on the screen here is an example of some of the things that we've created very early on when we started making games. And we took the feedback from our user base about these and we actually improved a lot of them and remade quite a lot of them into what can be seen now. We included a lot more detail, a lot more kind of interactiveness within them, and a lot more kind of realism into the rides. So we try and take on as much of the feedback as we can and try and really put in as much effort as we can into making sure our games are what our users want them to be, while also maintaining the style that we want.
Because of the nature of the metaverse and because you're sort of in this virtual reality, does that mean that your users are then more invested in what it is they're playing and what it is you're building? So I'm just thinking about trying to get feedback from my customers or end users can sometimes be like pulling teeth, but for you guys, is it given quite willingly because they want it to work, they want it to be better, they want to enjoy it more?
It can be a little hit and miss with some people, and like if we create kind of proper feedback channels, they're not always optimized to the best extent, but we often find that the best way we get feedback is by engaging with the users actually in the game. So really? we play the game with people and they say, oh, it'd be good if this was the case, or we'd like this feature, or people send us a message and say, oh, we'd really like to see this sort of ride. So while maybe official feedback channels are not optimized, we kind of try and engage with our audience as best we can, and we get the feedback the best that way.
Yeah, I love that. Can you both please elaborate on a specific challenge that you faced while creating an experience on Roblox and how you overcame it?
Yeah, so one of the biggest issues we had was our idea was to have one game, but all of the items within the game can be shared to any game we've created. So within Movie World itself, we have items such as emblems and in-game food and drinks that you can buy. And we wanted to be able to have that across all of the different games that we create. And a current limitation on Roblox meant when you have data in one game, it will only work in that game. So we really pushed the platform to the limit by making a data system, which basically meant we can use everything in one game and share it across all of the games we created. So people could earn currency and cash in one game, but then they can spend it in a completely different game that we've created. So it's a metaverse game within another metaverse game, just to really confuse it. And it's sort of our way of being able to allow fans that enjoy one game to try a different experience we've done, try it out, but they sort of know how everything already works because all of the data and everything's already the same.
Yeah, kind of in terms of the actual challenging side of it, the inbuilt systems that Roblox has are relatively easy to use when you've used the platform before, but we had to make our own completely external system, and that meant programming everything from scratch. So it was a very, very, very big task, and we've remade it. I think I've lost count of how many times now, just to keep improving it, make it more efficient. So that it really, really was one of our biggest challenges that we've ever had.
So is the idea to keep, within the games that you have created, to keep the gamer within sort of the TeamTBM brand, or is it like you just thought it would be nice for yourselves as gamers and players to have that?
It's kind of a bit of both. So we kind of want all of our games, like we have made several theme parks, and we want them all to kind of be interlinked by one common kind of element, which is what a metaverse is. So by linking the data that's shared between them, so you buy an item in one game and use it in another, you've got that kind of common link between them, and it really helps build that user experience.
I love how casual you are with that sentence. We have made several theme parks. Just another day at the office, eh? Brilliant. So how can brands tag on to the Roblox experience and the users?
So before I kind of answer that, if any of you don't know what a AAA game is, the definition's up here now. This will be kind of important for explaining this. So a AAA game is essentially just a high-value, high-budget, big game made by big companies, put on a platform for people to use. So I'll use Adidas as an example of this. They made a virtual store on the Roblox platform, and at first it looks just a bit like an advertisement, but what made this so much more kind of engaging and unique is that users were able to almost try these items on virtually. So they could have like a handbag, or a backpack on their virtual avatar. They could put shoes on their virtual avatar, but while also still being able to buy items within the game and have an actual product delivered to their house.
That sounds exciting. What are some of the more innovative or surprising ways TeamTBM have seen brands use Roblox to connect with new audiences?
So one of the biggest examples which I like to share with people, and I love it, IKEA built a game which allowed people to explore a massive IKEA. They could pull items off the shelf, and then they were able to physically buy the items on Roblox. They could put their house address, pay for it online, and those items would be physically delivered to them their house. So it meant they could order anything from IKEA, try it out in Roblox, let their avatar use it, and then they can order it to their house and see it in person. But one of the biggest parts to that was once the items run out of stock, they would disappear off the Roblox shelf, and then people in-game could go behind the scenes, pull items off a different shelf, put them in IKEA, and they would get paid hourly to do that. So you're basically getting paid to work in IKEA, but on Roblox, which to me is mind-blowing that you can get paid to work virtually, but work for a real brand such as IKEA. And it's a really cool concept which a lot of companies are starting to build off, because if you can get paid to work online, that's sort of minimising more in-person shops, because you can try everything on a game, you can see it all online, and your avatar's roughly the same height as you, so you don't physically need to see the item. But yeah, to me, it's mind-blowing.
My mind is, I don't know if you can see it, it's happening in real time, this mind being blown. I'm glad IKEA didn't do like flat pack gaming, because that would not be the one, would it? Great. So how does the user demographic on Roblox influence the type of experiences brands could consider creating?
So just up on the screen here are a couple charts just sort of showing off the demographics of age. What we've discovered recently is that, and kind of as we've said earlier as well, the main age range actually on the platform is between 13 and 24. And it's people like us that have grown up with the platform. So when businesses are really trying to get onto the platform, often this is the audience that they're trying to target. So like IKEA, for example, 18 to 24-year-olds might be looking to buy somewhere, buy furniture. It's kind of a perfect example. But what makes this more interesting is that on the second graph on the right, it shows more or less the same kind of proportions between the ages, but it's a massive increase in the amount of users that are actually on the platform. So while the actual ratios of the different age groups have not changed very much, the actual amount of users has gone up.
The numbers has gone up. So basically, should we all be considering the metaverse? Do we all need to get in it? And if we don't, are we going to be missing out? And if we should, how should we do that?
I mean, there are definitely some really good opportunities for businesses on the metaverse, and it's really just kind of finding the niche that the business needs. And there's another little stat up on the screen here, but there's millions of active users on the platform every day, every month, every year, and the number is just substantially growing. There's millions of users on Roblox currently, and that number is increasing tenfold every year. So there's a real market for businesses if they find something that works.
Are there any specific industries that you think are particularly well suited to survive in the Roblox metaverse?
So a few people have asked me that already today, and I thought I would put this slide up, which basically shows a whole range of games which are on Roblox. So we've got Superdrug, which allowed you to view all of the items they sell. Specsavers built a game where you could try out the game, explore the map, but over time your vision would change throughout the game, and it was a way for Specsavers to advertise their glasses, and you could try their glasses on in-game and your vision would improve, which is a really unique way to advertise it. And then Starbucks having in-game, which you can basically buy coffee and interact with other people as if you're in a real-life coffee shop. But Roblox has a voice chat feature where you can physically talk to people across the world. So you can have meetings and stuff, like an online meeting, but you could sit on a virtual coffee shop. So there's a whole range of different games, and Formula One, NFL, and big brands like that have brought their games onto the platform and have been able to make quite a lot of money from it just by showcasing you can race their cars on a racetrack, or you can play the sport, you can interact with anything. So in answer to the question, there isn't really a set game or genre which is good for the platform. It's basically anything. And there's been quite a few news articles talking about it as well. So I've tried to find as many news articles as I could. And on here, this will show BBC reporting about games that they've built. And there's quite a few different games that have started off quite small, and then Hasbro, for example, teamed up with Jailbreak, which is a game where you basically break out of a prison, and Hasbro teamed up with them, and they brought out a range of Nerf guns where you could have all of the in-game guns, but as Nerf guns, and Hasbro brought out characters you could play with. There was a whole range of different items just for one game. And another example, there's a game called Pet Simulator, where you can basically have virtual pets within a game. You can explore a map, and all of their items were bought into Happy Meals in America, where kids could buy a Happy Meal and actually interact with their Roblox items and things like that, just in a Happy Meal. That McDonald's are teaming up with Roblox, and so many brands are starting to do that. Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
It really is mind-blowing. Has anybody got any questions for Ben and Tyler, please?
I wondered if you had any thoughts about how engaging with the metaverse impacts on young people, and whether you think there is a danger of it impacting kind of social skills and there are, people's ability to kind of have conversations in real life. I think I'm old, so it'd be good to hear from you folks about what you think that impact might be.
Yeah, so I think it might have an effect on people, but at the same time, I think COVID had just as big of an effect on younger people of not being able to interact as much as they probably would have done. And Roblox has become such a big platform where you can talk to people basically anywhere. So they may not be having the in-person, real-life interaction, but so many platforms and so many things are starting to go online. I think everything's starting to go that way. So in answer to your question, I think it might have an effect, but I don't think it would be as significant as news articles are making it sound in a way. I'm not sure if you have any more to add.
I think you've pretty much covered it.
I think if these two are like the poster boys of Roblox and the effect it's had. Like you're so articulate and personable, and so yeah, I think we're all right. I think we're all right. Any more questions, please?
About 4 years ago, 2 students approached me in my class and said, can we do our computer game project on Roblox? And in my infinite wisdom, I said, no, it's got to be a proper programming language like GameMaker or Unity. In my humble wisdom, I was talking rubbish, but can you tip me off as to what my next tier of students are going to be asking me and whether or not I need to be preparing for this or this version 2.0 to give them the best shot?
I mean, Roblox in itself is really good for somebody who's never done like game development before, because it's so user friendly and everything can be very kind of intuitive compared to sort of other game engines where you have to know a lot about what you're using or a lot about the programming language. Roblox has so much documentation and so many kind of guides and tutorials on how to do things, and there are so many sort of free assets that you can get that just show you how to make something, and there are step-by-step tutorials to build even the most basic things up to far more complex things. So it's such a good platform for somebody who's never done it before, and you're still learning using a proper programming language, like it's the same as most game engines, but you just have that pre-built kind of 3D space already done for you. So you're skipping essentially the hardest part to make something that's actually potentially a lot better.
I think sort of adding on to that as well, for when we first started, a lot of people, they want to make a game, but they're not quite sure where to start. And if you start on a platform such as Unity, which is another game engine, you start on a blank canvas, you're in a world, nothing's on there. But on Roblox, there's a massive range of templates based on what you're interested in, and all of them are free to adapt and work on. So if you have an idea, but you're not quite sure how to build on it, you could use a template, add more to it, and create a game from there, so you're not starting from a completely blank canvas. And I think that's one of the biggest things that make it stand out of, if you haven't used any gaming platform before, or you're not quite sure how to do it, you should start with Roblox, and from there you can expand onto any platform.
Brilliant. Any more questions, please?
Since your company is now sort of based on Roblox, at the moment Roblox is facing a number of controversies. Are you worried that that is going to have an impact on your business as well as the metaverse within Roblox?
I've seen quite a few big news articles about issues on Roblox, and
What are the controversies?
a lot of them have been it's dangerous for young kids. So, for example, there might be predators on the game and on the platform, but the articles make it sound really serious because it is, but they seem to target just Roblox. Any platform has issues like that. There's Instagram has loads of big issues, but news articles don't really cover it. And I think Roblox is getting the biggest spotlight because it's always referred as a kids platform. But a lot of the things which the news articles don't cover is Roblox has so many parental controls within it. Parents can connect their account to their kids' account. They can turn off chat features. They can disable interacting with anyone. So there's so many features where parents can make sure their kids don't interact with strangers online. And it's probably much safer than any platform I've known. But none of the news articles seem to talk about those safety features. They just talk about the platform being full of pegos, full of predators, when there might be a few, but Roblox takes serious action. If they find out anything like that, they will take the accounts down, take any legal action, like they're really on it all the time. And I think the news articles are making everything seem a bit bigger than it actually is.
That's comforting to know all of the steps that Roblox are taking to protect their users, I suppose. Maybe more needs to be done about making sure that that's publicly known. Have you got anything to add, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to kind of continue on from what Tyler said, but in a lot of responses to what these news articles have been saying, Roblox have just been increasing their moderation and their safety tenfold every time. As soon as they find a potential spot where there's a weakness or a safety issue, they're doing their best that they can to fix it. I mean, recently they made it so that any game on Roblox has to be age rated, so you can't have somebody that's, say, 9 years old going on a game that's made for somebody over 18, because it physically won't let you. so that it's now, things like that are now a requirement, and they're doing lots of these little steps to ensure as much safety as possible.
Brilliant. Any more questions, please? No? That's great. One thing I did want to ask you is what's next for Team TBM? Where are you going? What's happening? What's cooking?
Honestly, we're not sure. TBM has grown so much since probably 2017. We started making the company when we were in secondary school, and we did it. It was quite small, but we enjoyed doing it. Then we went to college, and everything went a bit crazy. COVID hit. We were in college, we were doing all of our coursework, but as a massive side project to it, we were working on TBM, making games, working with brands, working with a massive range of people. So every time something big like that's happened, we haven't been expecting it, but as soon as it's come, we've worked with it. So I'm not quite sure where TBM would be, but I think it's going to be in a much better place than it currently is already, just by getting bigger, working with more people, and speaking to quite a few people today already. We're looking at potentially expanding even more with bigger brands and things like that. So I think it's definitely going to be in a good place.
Have you got any sort of advice or words of wisdom for other people that might be here that have got a passion that they want to turn into a company like you guys have?
I would say go for it. Like, if you have an idea and you want to expand your idea, keep investing in it. Like, if you have an idea, you really want it to be a big thing, keep trying it over and over again. The games we've made, we've been showing pictures and they've been quite big and detailed, but if we show you pictures of the games we first made, they were awful. Like, we've worked on so many things and we've worked on it for a year and we've realised it's really rubbish, and we've moved away from it and expanded and made bigger and better games. So if you have an idea, try it. It may not be great or it may not work the way you want it to be, but you have to start somewhere, and I think everyone has worked on something. It's not being the way they wanted it to be. It may not be as good, but if you keep pushing it and keep making it better, chances are it will be successful and people will enjoy it.
I'll just carry on from that as well. So a lot of what this comes down to as well is the self-teaching. We've only been taught a very little amount of what we actually know. Most of it comes from us. A lot of it's trial and error. So like when we've made websites as well, and like when we're designing a website, you know, we try something, we think, I mean, it's okay, but it could be better. So then we ask each other, you know, what do you think could improve the look of this? And we'll say, oh, well, this, that, and the other. And then we try it and think, actually, yeah, that's much better. And it's kind of the same with games as well. And it comes back to the user feedback. So we build something and we try and get the feedback. We teach ourselves, how can we make this better? You know, if we need to learn a new skill, we will. And it was like with one of our biggest challenges as well. A lot of that was a massive, massive learning curve for us because we'd never done it before. We'd never made something quite so big and complex, and it was something that we really had to teach ourselves. So if you're really looking to make your own business, you have to have that commitment to trial and error. Things won't work every time, the first time that you try it. You will have the failures, but you need those in order to actually succeed.
That's brilliant. Anything else to add?
I don't think so. I think there's one more slide as well if we flip to it. So this is the sort of ending slide talking about AAA games are sleeping on Roblox, where massive brands don't want to go on the platform because it's always referred as a kids platform, but we've shown you today that it's open for anyone and brands are starting to move on to it. And I think Roblox, Unity and a whole range of platforms are going to get bigger because technology is getting bigger than it's ever been. And I think if people can try and be involved with Roblox or gaming as a whole, I think it's going to be really good. And yeah, I think that's everything.
You're talking about big brands on Roblox. Is there any space for, you know, like say more high street or SMEs in that kind of space as well, like startup businesses or, you know?
Yeah, so kind of an example of this, there's a lot of people, like just individual people that have made their own games on the platform. So some of the biggest games on the platform have been made by, say, one or two people, not necessarily big companies, and they earn a lot more money than what a lot of people earn, and they make a living just off of their game on Roblox. So I mean, if you've got the commitment and you've got the willingness to actually make something that's going to work, there's potential for absolutely anybody, whether you're a big business or not.
That's reassuring, isn't it? Good to know. That's brilliant. Ben, Tyler, you've been so brilliant. Thank you for making the Metaverse seem not so scary and daunting. You've been excellent. Thanks so much. Thank you.